The Netflix show Atypical review. So, Atypical is a show on Netflix that references a kid named Sam who has a form of autism and has an addiction for wildlife. And his best friend is Saeed. They both work at cybernetic market just like Best Buy. So this is literally a really good show I found on Netflix, and I truly figured out why autism is a disability, but it's not a big disability, but why it doesn't really give you the edge in public school, but if used incorrectly can be very detrimental to other people's lives. You see, the thing about autism and why I love this show is how it affects other people and how it doesn't affect the kid with autism. They might be the smartest guy in the world, but to other people, they can literally fuck their lives up to hell. Now, it's in their mind, it's not my fault that other people are dumb, but Sam is literally a very good definition of autism. And the reason why I love Sam and why I loved his character progression throughout the series so far, there's only 3 seasons. The 4th season is coming up. What is due for a 4th season is beyond me. So let's take with Sam's household. It's Sam, and he lives with his mom and his dad Doug and his little sister Casey. Sam is a senior in the beginning of the series, and he goes to school literally confused but doesn't care about female nature, confused about life, and he has a very good relationship with his therapist named Julia. And Julia is trying to coach him about how he should be more social, how he should get with girls. And literally, the very first episode, Sam gets laid. But he gets laid in literally the easiest way possible. What happens is, Saeed is basically based off an Indian crew that stalked me in high school, that tried to tell me that I had no game. And Saeed is literally trying to tell Sam how to have game. Oh, you gotta be like this, now you gotta be, hey, what's up, honey? Which literally is the wrong way to get girls. It will always be a wrong way to get girls. And Sam came out her being real, and he literally asked this one girl, like, would you like to go on a date? And on the date, he just tried talking about what he liked talking about. And so Sam literally gets laid, gets offered to get laid the very first night. All because he just stayed what his interests are, and he made sure that she was engaged, and he asked her what her interests are, basically. So him and her get into her room, and she literally offers Sam to have sex the very first season, and Sam declines because this literally shows him, I'm like, really, is this that easy? Is it that easy to get laid? And literally, what Sam does is remarkable because he really, like, understood the situation. He understood that he does a lot of research about humans, all those therapy sessions with Julia, all for him to just literally be honest and be himself. The thing about Sam is very outgoing. He has a very big expanded mind, and the girl, even though she was a bookworm, this is what you have to understand about girls with glasses. A lot of them are freaks. Contrary to what you think, a lot of girls that wear glasses are super, super, super freaks. And you have to understand what happened was that girl literally, you would think she was a nerd, and that's the whole reason why Saeed paired him up with the nerd. And so Saeed thought that he was going to flunk, but what happened was he ended up throwing her off where literally her titties are hanging out and shit on the bed like, no, I have to stop it, literally. This has nothing to do with science, but it's true. And the thing about Sam is he literally felt betrayed by a woman. He felt like anything. So his mom is trying to get him to be more social. And so she takes him to an artistic awareness program. When Sam literally saw the whole fucking spectrum, and he's like, what's the whole point of getting laid if it's that easy? What's the whole point of people fussing and fighting over who's going out with who if it's that lazy? So season 1 is really and Sam is one of my favorite protagonists in a Netflix series. And I really think you should check this out. And Atypical is a reference to a relationship I have with a cosplayer named Typical Cosplay. Mama Sita on Instagram. I'll link her in the description. But Atypical is literally showing people why autism is very detrimental, but why we have to understand that us as a society as a whole, we need to expand as a society. Because what happens is Julia, even though throughout the series, she starts liking Sam a little bit more and more and more as more than just a patient. Now, on to Sam's affair in his house. So, Sam's mom literally gets frustrated and literally tries to tell her husband, Doug, literally, what's wrong with Sam, that he has autism. And Doug knows that Sam doesn't really have autism. So, Doug is trying to convince Sam to act like a little kid while he's in high school, while Casey is going out with this guy named Evan. So, Casey is my favorite character. So, Casey is literally a good representation of what a girl should be, but why you shouldn't focus too much on her personality. If you're a girl in this society, it is very detrimental. I'm not saying that women should have no personalities, but look at all the ways that she was targeted throughout the series because of how much of a personality she actually has. So Casey goes like this. So Casey goes out with this bad guy who literally gets kicked out of school, while simultaneously Sam's mom gets into an affair with this guy named Nick at the bar and cheats on her husband, and Doug is just trying to make peace between the two and Lily. So Casey getting into some criminal activity, and Sam trying to cope with the fact that he doesn't have autism, but he has autism on paper. He doesn't know what the fuck to tell Julia. So basically Sam resolve is this. So Sam goes up to his dad and he's like, I want to make Julia my girlfriend. And Doug is trying to convince Sam that he cannot do that, but he's not doing it because he likes Julia. He wants it to get back at her for all the times he's fucking lied to him through the fucking therapy. And Lily, I tried to tell Lily so many people how I felt like Sam and how Sam literally got with the girls easy. So what happens is Sam goes from not understanding female nature at all to Lily being able to pull every single girl at school through street code, but not on paper. So all the girls that played hard to get his senior year all of a sudden were all over him, and he doesn't give a fuck. He just wants to get at Julia because he hates Julia. And so Lily, so Doug is trying to keep the peace, but he's also trying to figure out why the fuck is his wife cheating on her. So this is the best part about season 1, and this is why I love Atypical, because it shows you why people need to stop being pussies nowadays, why nerds need to fuss up, and why people need to stop worrying about, oh, he cheated on you, he cheated. Okay, so when Stan's mom cheated on Doug, here's what happened. She cheated on him for a younger guy that was lame. That was completely fucking stupid. People don't think complex anymore. People just say, oh, you cheated and that's it. No. She made sure the guy was lame. She made sure the guy didn't have a personality. She made sure the guy was a fucking idiot. All around, it was a whack. She literally just went out with him just because he was young. And she wanted to relieve some stress that she couldn't get relieved by Doug because Doug is a man. And you don't understand that about genetics, literally. It's just basically me hooking up with a hooker with no personality that just turned 18. And that literally is what happens. And you don't understand that about people, literally. She made sure that there was no fucking attachment to that guy. So there was going to be no thing that was going to get in the way of her marriage. And Doug understood that. Doug knew the entire time that she was cheating on him, but she knew that she was cheating on him with somebody who was lame. Understand the complexity. Understand that he still did that. Do you know why Doug didn't file for a divorce? Are you guys let your whole foundation break down just because of one thing? They're married on paper, and they're going to break up and destroy their whole fucking family over one misunderstanding. And that was the best part, is if you watch all the time Sam's mom fucks Doug, it literally, you can tell that she's faking it the entire fucking time. And the only reason why she's getting her shit off is because he's young and he can work it better, and that's nothing else. Nick is lame. Nick is stuff because she did it on purpose. She made sure that there was some way late so she can come home to her husband, and her husband understood that, and he did not hold it against her. And that is what you have to understand about the society. He is not going to take away that whole foundation over some fucking fruitcake. And if you look at Nick, Nick is a fruitcake. You have to understand that. So how you know he's a fruitcake is Nick keeps on blowing up her phone and she kept on coming to him. We're done. We're done. I have a husband. We're done. And he kept on blowing her up, and that's why Sam's dad understood that. You nerds, you people need to understand that life is complex. They're not going to throw away a whole foundation over your pity ass. Oh, he cheated. Oh, he did it all. Oh, he did it. Look at the way how she cheated. She cheated on him with a fucking fruitcake. For 1,000th time. Think more complex. Do not think of anything face value. And this is why this is a beautiful Netflix show. This happens a whole lot of times. Oh, this and that happened. People are understanding about the situation. It's not front facing like how you think it is. It's not literally straightforward how you think it is. So here's what happened. While Sam is literally trying to plot a scheme to take down Julia, they hook Sam up with an autistic girl named Paige. So Paige is a chatterbox. She's very talkative, but she's very socially awkward. But she has a little bit more of a standing in the school because she's a girl. And so what happens is Sam literally just figures out everything about people. He literally looks at people roasting each other. He knows they're not really roasting. And he's all like, yo, Sam, What happened? When's the last time you get some pussy? He's like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in cats. Literally, it was so fucking funny, destroying those fucking popular kids. And he could have gone on with the roast. And literally, so the popular kids in their heads think that they're roasting him, but they know they're not roasting him because they keep on dragging it on. And that's the thing about insecurity. So Sam's all like, all these people, you're faking who they need to be. And he's having a mental breakdown, not because he's jealous, not because he understands how lame people are already in high school. This is what happens when you get laid. This is what happens when you lose your virginity. You see the mask do all the fucking people. You can see how everybody is faking. It literally pissed them the fuck off. Now, what happens is this. Simultaneously, while Sam is going out with a crazy girl named Paige, he's literally not knowing what to do. So he asks Saeed for advice about how to deal with Paige. And Saeed is literally a try-hard Indian that tries to act black and literally is abusing his parents, is literally going down the wrong path. So simultaneously, when that happens, he literally has another plot line with his younger sister Casey. And so Casey, being my favorite character, has the biggest dynamic, and I am saving that for a little bit further in the video. You know why? Because I am not gonna fuck up my favorite character. Okay, so basically, Sam is the craziest in the show, contrary to what you think. So he keeps on trying to tell Julia about how to deal with Paige, how to deal with this and that. So he tried to get advice from Syed, he tries to get advice from Julia, and Paige just keeps on surprising him over and over again. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? Why is he so enthusiastic? Well, I'm not enthusiastic for shit. And that is the craziest shit about, you know, Sam and his autism. And he literally, every single time he talks, it's literally a reference to something, and literally he's obsessed with polar bears, he's obsessed with Arctic. There's not one part of the season, so season 1 is my favorite, that he does not talk about Arctic wildlife. He's obsessed with penguins, he's obsessed with polar bears, he's obsessed with all that shit. And he's literally crazy. So what happens in the first season is literally he gets rejected by this Indian girl who's based off of Narada in real life, but this is literally showed me what happened when I was in junior high. What happened is he gets rejected by this Indian girl, but then he ends up with Paige. And so the Indian girl's mad because C hooked him up with Paige just to prove that he has autism and he'll always have autism. And so what happens is C gets Sam in trouble. And C literally destroys Sam's whole fucking entire identity. Now, here's what happens with Casey's plotline. And this is why you should not trust hoes in high school after you made it. So basically, Sam is going through this, Sam is going through that, and he doesn't know what to do. He's about to graduate. He's leading Paige on. This is one time where he kept on hurting Paige's feelings because he kept on asking Syed for advice to the point where C actually got hurt. And he's literally, so this is what happens when you take advice from Indian people trying to act black. And so literally, I see the whole perspective. This is one time he believed Syed because he was making out with a harder girl. So this is when Casey comes into play. Casey doesn't fall for any of this shit. Yes, he still does this shit. And the reason why Casey's character is the most complex, in my opinion, is because C is literally a reincarnation of her mom. And what the fuck C does to this guy named Evan is the exact same thing of what her mom did to Nick. And Nick kept on harassing her. And so literally, Casey's dad came and punched Nick in the face at the end of the season. And they're trying to act like Nick was doing something just because he was fucking her. No. I keep on trying to tell people, like, this is a complex situation. Like, that affair meant nothing to that whole fucking family. So here's literally the craziest thing about Casey. I know I'm taking a whole lot of time because I am not fucking up her. Oh my god, I love the way Casey plays this guy named Evan. No, literally, this is the nastiest shit I've ever seen because literally the whole entire time C is thinking about her friend's reputation. So basically, her friends tried to hype Casey up to try to say that this guy named Evelyn is a grown-ass man and that he's doing this and that, when really he's just a troublemaker who gets in trouble for literally stealing instruments from the school band. And it literally was so fucking crazy because the main point of why this is so informational is because a lot of nerds don't even get to a kissing part, they don't get to an instrument part, they don't even get to a date part yet, but they get approval through a text message or probably some this and that. But this guy, Evan, was literally getting make-out sessions with Casey, literally seeing Casey in lingerie, being in the bed with Casey, and C wasn't enjoying one bit of it. If you understand body language, Casey was playing the fuck at Evan every single fucking scene. I mean, she was playing the fuck out of Evan every single fucking scene. It was so destructive to Evan's psyche. He didn't know what to do, so he kept on trying different stuff. And it got to a point where he got outshined. And later on seasons by people that he never thought he would get outshined by. And Lily, he's being this bad guy. And the only reason why Casey's hanging out with him is because of his status. He got kicked out of school and this and that. And so Casey's friends on the track team literally try to convince her that he is a good choice for her. And so literally, the season ends when Sam finally making it up to Paige, but literally breaking up with Paige and literally getting Julia pregnant. So what happens is he asks Julia how to dance and stuff like that so he can go to the dance with Paige. And so what happens is he gets Julia pregnant, but they do it through street code. And so Doug isn't new to this, so Doug literally tells Julia, stay away from my son. And this is how you know Doug is the fucking shit. Doug is my favorite adult character in any fucking Netflix show because he didn't care that Sam's mom was cheating. He saw right through that because that guy was lame. He understood the situation, that she was this frustrated. And he saw through Julia's shit because she tried to blame Sam that, yo, this is my patient. I can't be having a relationship, this and that. But he just got you pregnant and you're about to get married to another guy and he doesn't know that that's Sam's kid. And Doug knew right away, and Doug's like, oh, you're trying to blame it on my son? Stay away from him. And I fucking love men like that. I fucking love men who really bypass what the fuck paper is. He's like, oh no, you have a soul. You have a soul. I know what the fuck you want. My son literally macking out all the girls. Literally, that girl that's based off the router literally flashed her ass at him. Literally, all this crazy shit during the first season, and it blew my fucking mind because the level of street knowledge, and you have to literally memorize people. You have to know, like, face, body language in order for this shit to actually work. And that's why I love Atypical. It shows you so much about human nature. It shows you so much about people. So the season ends with Doug and Sam's mom making it up, and she never cheats on him again. And she literally tells Doug to fuck up Nick, and Nick gets fucked up, and he leaves Sam's mom alone. Casey is still with Evan, but Casey is playing the fuck out of Evan every single time they get in bed. You can tell that Casey is faking it. And at the end of the first season, it gets really, really, really intense. You get a really big of a hint of why Julia is full of shit. So going on to the second season is where literally he continues his relationship with Paige that really isn't working out. He gets offered to go to a good college where Casey gets a scholarship. And when she goes to school, it goes all hell breaks loose because Evan is literally trying to keep up with Casey. Where Casey is moving on to bigger and better things. She's making a new group of friends. She's joining an even bigger crack team. And so that's going good. But Sam is just keeping up his regular autistic habits, literally working out his job, making excuses for Syed, literally trying to please the manager named Bob. And it's literally not working to the fullest extent, and this is really a dry season for me. Season 3 had a little bit more of a plot line, but season 2 is just so spicy. But my favorite season is season 1 because it shows you everything about what the show's about why he doesn't have autism, why autism fluctuates around paper, why people don't tell the full story, and how people in positions of power will lie and get away with it, and people will believe it because of their position of power. Okay, so literally, I don't care if you're a therapist, I'll give a fuck of anything. You fuck Sam after you dance with him, and yes, I loved how Doug called it out. And the best part about this was literally, in season 2, really shows you that shit got out of hand when you become a man, when you become this and that, when you lose your virginity, when you see people what you truly are, everyone is going to try to fuck you. And it was so fucking amazing. So here's what happens. So season 2 comes along, and literally Casey is just playing Evan, and Evan gets offered to go to this literally dinner with these new snobs at Casey's new scholarship. And so Casey makes a new friend named Izzy, who's bad as fuck, by the way. Izzy can get. So Casey literally hooks up with Izzy, and they become best friends in the track field. And so what happens is this. So Casey literally loves the new school, and she's struggling to fit in, while Sam is literally just graduating and literally coming to college, and everything isn't really flowing like how Sam wants it to be. You know, Syed is getting in trouble for pot. They're both getting in trouble. You know, Sam's getting in trouble with the police some night because he's following Syed, but him and Syed literally still remain buddies, and they have a really good friendship with Lily. So basically, even though Syed is lying, what happens is this. one thing Sam cannot get through his head is that Syed is a fucking liar. Syed is the funniest guy on the show because he's a total fucking fake. But as life continues on, they realize that Syed can't live up to his reputation. Even Syed has tendencies when he turns into a Sam, when he actually becomes suicidal. You see him in Scrubs one time, and literally you can tell that he's getting rejected because all that street hip hop, oh honey, how you doing, isn't working. Because he's not doing it right. If he does it. If you do it right, there are repercussions from it. And he learned that literally the day when he had Sam over and Sam got in trouble with the police and Lily, that shit was fucking crazy. And it all happened over a sleepover. Lily, he's trying to cope with Paige. He doesn't know how to deal with Paige's mental breakdowns. He literally gets offered all this play at school. And literally he just turns it down. So graduation comes and literally, so Casey is trying to break to Evan that she doesn't like him and that she's moving on to bigger and better things. And even Evan tries to get this job at the dinner place that he just had a date with Casey, and everybody's clowning on Evan because he literally got kicked out of high school for stealing the band instruments. And so literally what happens is this is he literally is like, this thing's not working out, so here's what happens. So towards the end of season 2, a little bit towards season 3, Sam ends up having feelings for Casey. Oh my god, is this show so fucking juicy? Yes, 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 nerds. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Sam has game. Everyone wants to fucking wake up. I fucking love this show because literally everything that you nerds think is happening isn't happening. See, they didn't get a divorce. Nothing happened. They don't jump to conclusions. They don't destroy a whole foundation over pay shit. And literally, yes, Sam is stepping up his game. He's getting a better wardrobe. And yes, his sister is trying to fuck him. So guess what happens at the end of the second season? He gets Casey pregnant. They start dancing at a party, and literally Evan's oblivious to it, and even Casey is looking at her. So Izzy and Casey are looking both at Sam. So Izzy literally trying to fuck Sam. They're both looking at him like, oh my god, this and that. And that's what happens when you step your game up. That literally what happens when you step your game up. Sorry, nowhere around it. Get through it, nerds. Get through your fucking brain. This is a cruel world, but you gotta adapt to it. You don't gotta be a part of that instance. You gotta be a part of nothing, but you have to be aware that it exists. I fucking love Atypical because that is the living, breathing truth about our society. We're humans. Fuck what paper says. We are humans. Oh, you want to do that? That's against morals. We're still humans. We still have hormones. Get the fuck over it. And that's what I love about Atypical. All that scientific shit was going to waste and literally. So Sam gets a side hobby of drawing, and literally he starts drawing aquarium life, and he ends up loving drawing, and he's addicted to it, but it's a real big distraction. So literally, towards the end of season 2, it's confirmed that he has feelings for Casey, and literally, so him and Casey can't leave each other alone, and it causes friction between the family. And so what happens at the end of season 2 is Doug ends up getting with one of the people at the autistic awareness program named Megan. Megan is a black girl. So the funniest thing about Doug is literally Doug opens because what happens is Megan is mad that they didn't do what they should have done on paper. And so she tries to get Doug to cheat on his wife, and he's literally like, oh, okay, you're smoking, literally. So what happens is this. She offers herself to Doug, and Doug's like, okay, I'll play along. So what Doug is doing is he's accepting her offer to go on a date for information, and he literally does nothing, and you have to read facial expressions. The best part about Atypical, if you can't read facial expressions, you don't know what's going on in the show, and you will be completely lost. It's like, oh no, like, he's cheating on his wife. No, he's evaluating that girl so he doesn't cheat on his wife. And if you look at the facial expression, he's sarcastic the entire time, and you have to know where a game face is. You know, where a poker face is, literally. They can keep it up for entire conversations and literally play him, just like Casey was playing Evan the entire time. So Evan keeps on trying to convince Casey that, oh, he's the one. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm getting in trouble. This and that. I'm making out with you. Why don't I feel something? Because C is playing you. So towards season 3, C ends up getting into a relationship with Izzy after getting pregnant by Sam. So it's literally the craziest shit because you don't know how deep this shit is, and as it goes on, literally, so what happens is Evan even tries to get a job at Doug's EMT job, and it does not work out for him. No matter what he does, he cannot get Casey's parents. He's like, literally, he's doing everything, so why doesn't he feel love? Because C is with him only for his clout. And so some of the people from Casey's previous school tried to get her to go to her party, and it turns out that she's even having lesbian affairs that are stronger than Evan. Evan spent all that time with her, but for what? For nothing. I'm telling you, you can waste time when you're with a girl. You can waste time, period. All because he's pretending to be something he's not. He's doing something that he doesn't want to do. He even tried snitching. Big mistake, player. Big mistake. He snitched on Sam when he figured out that Sam and Casey were fucking. I'm like, ah! I fucking love this shit. I truly fucking love this shit. I just love how these nerds are so oblivious. All this real shit is going on, and you're still supporting people like Evan. Just keep on supporting Evan. I love this shit. I absolutely love this shit. No. I'm saying, cry me a river nerds. I fucking love how you think this is gonna work. How you think you're gonna be on this Admiral shit. How you think like everything's gonna be okay. Literally, Casey just fucked her older brother. Sorry, I fucking love this show. I'm just saying, like, so here's what truly happens. So literally, Side gets with a girl named Gretchen, who literally is a pothead, college dropout, and tries to tell everybody why college is full of shit. So I'm gonna tell you, front facing, that is a huge hunk of shit. College is only not worth it if you don't know what you want to do. And that is literally, so that's an argument, literally. So literally, she's trying to say that, yo, all college graduates are either doing something basic and they usually don't invent nothing. I'm like, that's a big hunk of horse shit. That is basically from you not knowing what you want to do, and that's taking advice from a pothead that literally just fucked a try-hard Indian kid. And so what happens is this, so he tries to sustain Paige's relationship. It's a little bit flaky, and the only reason why he sustains is because Paige won't leave him the fuck alone, and that's literally the greatest shit about this show, literally. It shows you why Sam got a certain level of game where everything's crazy. So he keeps Julia around, and Julia comes to his graduation, oblivious to the fact that he is the one that got Julia pregnant, and it's so fucking insane, you know, because he was already in a relationship. But moving on to the real juicy part about the season is they try to separate they try to separate Casey from Izzy. And Izzy is so fucking bad. Izzy is so fucking hard. And literally, so she starts making out where a guy at this party she goes to, where literally all the girls at the previous school that Casey went to tried to set her up. And so literally, so what the great thing is the most things that happen is that they try to resolve it where it kiss. Izzy literally kisses Izzy kisses Casey, and I love Izzy and Casey's relationship. I think it's my favorite throughout the entire show because it really shows that even though that they are lesbians, they still have a foundation of understanding. Their situation is very complex, and literally what happens is this. So Casey gets that level of game when she's known for being truly popular. So the scholarship offers her this. They offer her to go to UCLA, and they're like, give up your social life, stop eating junk food, stop having a girlfriend, stop doing this and that, in order for you to make it to UCLA. And so literally they tried to give her an ultimatum, and she tried to tell Evan we're done, and when she told Evan we're done, it was over. I'm sorry. So Evan did not get shit. So if you watch this show, you think that Evan has this in the bag, you think that Evan has this and that one. No, it's the exact opposite. Evan is getting paid the entire time. I'm sorry. You've never had a stale kiss before. I'm sorry, but it's the same as when you look at a girl and you're humping her and she keeps a straight face. That is what you're getting, Evan. That is what happens when you literally have no character. Yeah, you might get some validation. You might even be able to fuck her, but if you don't have the respect for her, it will never be there. If you don't literally know that you're what you say you are, if you know you're a piece of shit and you still get laid, it's not going to change the fact that you're a piece of shit. And you have to understand that. Remember, if you want to know if she's enjoying it, look at her in your face while you're fucking her. You might be like, and she just be like, okay. You have to understand that. That's what Evan was getting the entire time. And you have to understand that about Atypical. So there are 3 seasons so far on Netflix. And at the end of the day, what happened was this. So Doug goes on a date with Megan for information. So Megan tries to force herself on Doug with a kiss. And so Doug, at the end of the night, the best complexity of the season is literally he puts his ring on his finger while she's sleeping, and he's like, this is getting bad. So yes, Doug is a great father. Doug makes sure everything comes in line. And even so, what happens is Sam stops Sayid from getting married to Gretchen because Gretchen is a whore on the street, and he realized that Sayid has been doing this all wrong, and he saves him from the street life, and he literally lets Sayid pass his exam because he helped him out, and he tries to tell Sayid that it's not everything, but he doesn't shove it down his throat. Here's what happens. He backs up with actions that the street life ain't shit, and that you have to literally learn how to get girls a different way. You don't want to risk all this for nothing, and I love Sam. I feel like he's one of the most complex characters I've ever seen. I feel like literally when he's trying to figure out about people is he still doesn't know how to socialize, but he's smarter than everybody. He's more considerate of the situation than everyone, but that's what gets him in trouble. Should I do this? Should I do that? But he asks the wrong person every time. And so that is Sam. And this is a Netflix show called Atypical. I really think you're going to enjoy it. It has tons of comedy. And it's really, really serious. But what you have to understand that this is a show that's all about facial expressions. If you can't read facial expressions, you won't like it. So please, go watch Atypical on Netflix. This is Mootrix.